Right, first and foremost, a very quick apology for this poor attempt of a lockdown beard. You probably can't even see it, to be honest. And the bum on it, not a great combination. Bury Town's championship winning season 2010. That is 10 years ago. That's quite extraordinary, and it was a surprise to me when I saw that. As I guess everybody says, time really does fly. But what a day that was! Looking back on that, really fond memories for me as a local sports reporter, and I can only imagine what that was, what memories that represents for the players, the staff behind the scenes, Russell Boards as chairman, your players, obviously the guy who masterminded everything, Richard Wilkins, as manager. What hugely fond memories for everybody. And what a day that was! Last game of the season, Marlow Town at home. I'm going to try and do a lot of this on recollection. It's a long time ago, but hopefully I've got all the details reasonably correct. There might be. I'm going to have a go at the starting lineup that day in a bit, and that might be slightly wrong, but I'm going to give it a go. Hopefully you forgive me. It's a long time, but that day was really special. Kieran Le Bon hat-trick in the first half. Absolutely fantastic. 1,400 people packed into the Ram. I want to say 1,400, hopefully it was. I can remember that Bury Free Press back page splash on the Friday, gearing everybody up for the big game. Come along, descend on the Ram, roar on the Blues to this historic title. We know now really that they were always going to do it, whether it was 1,400 people or one man and his dog. They were that good, especially on that day against Marlow. And I'll have a go at the team. Marcus Garner in goal, of course. Mr. Reliable Russell Short at right back. The partnership of skipper Tom Bullard and Sam Nunn at the back. In the middle, Ben Coker, who obviously went on to great things in the Football League at left back. Midfield of Lee Reid floating. I want to say Michael Stewart and Callum Kearns as the solid combination in the middle. This could be the tricky one. I want to say Chris Henderson, Sam Reid and Kieran Le Bon obviously up top. How close is that? Hopefully spot on. And it was just an absolutely incredible day. And I'll be honest, I can't remember about the first and the third goals, but I can vividly remember the second. And I'll tell you why in a bit. I seem to recall a phenomenal assist from Lee Reid inside his own half, on the halfway line. Just takes it in his stride, and then this beautiful ball over the top, piercing the two centre backs. Kieran Le Bon takes it in his stride and then lifts it calmly, lobs the goalkeeper and into the back of the net, and cue mass celebrations for 2-0. And it was, I remember that vividly, hopefully, because I remember looking at my notepad and thinking, that is it. You're scoring that level of goal. I'm going to say it, you're scoring a worldie at this point of this match with this pressure to win the title. There's nothing that I remember thinking they're not going to be denied now. They're too good, they're too focused, hell-bent on winning this title. It was a fantastic goal, really fantastic goal. And the celebrations at the end were something that will live with me for a very long time, and I'm sure the players and everybody connected with what is a fantastic football club. And let me tell you, the celebrations into the night in the town centre that April evening were also very special. But it wasn't just about that day, was it? It was a near perfect season. It was phenomenal, and I know Richard Wilkins would say near perfect because he is an absolute perfectionist, and certainly was when I was covering the team. His leadership was just he just had a real assurance about him, a football man through and through, lived the game, he played at a high level, and knew a lot about not just his tactics and how he wanted to approach games, but individual players. He was methodical in everything he did, and even to this day he deserves absolutely huge credit for masterminding that, the famous crusade. But the biggest thing for me with Bury Town that season was you didn't know where the goals were coming from in a positive fashion, because they were coming from all over the pitch. Ben Coker was a left back, obviously went on to have a really good career in the Football League, and he was banging them in with his left back, banging the goals in with his left foot, his right foot, scoring free kicks, of course, and penalties as well, from what I recall. But I want to say 15, 16, maybe even 17 goals that season from a left back. Tom Bullard, the skipper, would always get chip in with headers from set pieces, as would Sam Nunn. Lee Reid must have scored a hatful of goals that season. Chris Henderson, of course. Then you got the hotshot Sam Reid, who seemed to score every other game, and the really cool signing of Kieran LeBon that year, when a really interesting player and a great guy to talk to, absolutely great guy. You wouldn't see him for half an hour in a game, and you would forget he was playing, and then he'd turn it on. That turn of pace, that piece of magic, the hat trick on the final day against Marlow, that lob over the goalkeeper. It takes something special to score the goals he did, but from back to front there were goals in that team, and that was the one thing above anything else that I remember. And they were great, and every single one of those players and the staff behind the scenes, Russell Ward, the chairman, and Trevor Collins, obviously Richard, and the players and the fans that travelled home and away. I seem to record a really good FA Cup run that year as well. But they all had the vision, they all bought into it, and there was something. You don't win league titles, we know that. You don't win league titles in November and December, but you could tell at that point there was a real focus, a really visible vision that everybody had bought into, and that's what you need for success at any football club and any organisation, and that was there that season. They had key ingredients in terms of class, quality, consistency often in the lineup, and the attitude was spot on. From 1 to 11, it was spot on almost every week in, week out. And I talk about class because you had Nick Pope, albeit a 16-year-old Popey, sitting on the bench. Now famous England international Nick Pope was the substitute goalkeeper, I think, on that final day as well. Marcus Garnham keeping him out of the team. As I say, Popey was 16, but still no mean feat. And Marcus Garnham was very rarely called upon, it has to be said. But when he was, he pulled off some fantastic saves, extraordinary saves. And as I say, from start to finish, from back to front, that team was a title-winning team from very early on, and all they had to do was maintain that focus and the right attitude. And with Wilkins in charge, that you look back now, and that was always going to happen. And it was incredible. And there's special times. There's special times for those guys. Special time for me. You should really be impartial as a journalist, but do you know what? There's something very difficult about doing that with Bury Town, because it's a special football club. Let me tell you, a really football special club, special people. There was something that I never didn't look forward to covering a game on the coldest of Tuesday nights, and there was really cold Tuesday nights in Suffolk. And even now, and I've covered Championship football matches, Football League matches. Even now, Bury Town, not in lockdown obviously, Bury Town is one of the first results I look out for. And that's not just because they gained success that year and had long FA Cup runs. There is, I think, most people that have been to the Ram a few times and supported the Blues will tell you something very similar. So yeah, after lockdown, when we're back to normal and the football's up and running properly again, I vow to return to Round Meadow and watch a game and catch up with many people, because it certainly holds a place in my heart, very special place. And yeah, come on you Blues!